What up? My name is Ryan Babel, and you're watching JLB Sports TV.
Hey everybody, welcome to JLB Sports TV. I am Justin Block, and today I want to take you through the mind of Brendan Rodgers throughout his Liverpool tenure. Before I get into that, I should probably address what's on my chest. I'm at spring break, and last night a guy painted a Liverbird on me, so that was pretty cool. I love Liverpool, what can I say? But as much as I love Liverpool, and as much as you love Liverpool, and would probably enjoy looking at this beautiful, although now a little scratched up Liverbird, I will spare you the time of looking at my disgusting upper body. Now, getting into Brendan Rodgers, we should just really start from the beginning with him. I'll talk about his mentality from his first Liverpool presser ever. In his first press conference, he said, "I will always fight for my life for Liverpool, and that will be on and off the field." So he's always showed a passion for the club, certain self-belief, and there's an intensity in all of his quotes where he truly believes what he's saying, and he wants to really speak his vision into existence. Now, despite all of this, he has taken some criticism in the past for not being, I guess, negative enough during defeats, or really not getting on his players. I guess when a team loses, fans want to see their manager all downtrodden and depressed about the fact that they lost, but Brendan Rodgers really doesn't do that. When they lose, he's quick to applaud his team for their effort that day, and he uses words like outstanding and a wee bit better, and that rubs some fans the long way, and he comes off as delusional to some people. That was evident after Liverpool lost 2-1 to Manchester United in what was Rodgers' first couple games into his Liverpool career. He said, and I quote, "The better side lost today. In the areas we could control, I thought we were outstanding." Normally that's not something a Liverpool manager says after losing 2-1 to Manchester United, using the words outstanding and that the better side lost. This is only a couple games in the Liverpool season, and Manchester United would of course go on to be champions in that season. So despite that, we did see Rodgers sort of lay the breadcrumbs, or a little bit of foreshadowing later in his press conference when he said, "Very soon our luck will change, we'll do what we need to do to win matches, and we'll fly." So even way back in 2012, when the season was just beginning, his first season with Liverpool, he did see some things that he liked, and there's been a groundwork that he's been laying since then that's taken us to this point, now second in the table, on the verge of winning the title if Liverpool can get a good run of results the rest of the season. Even back then, he's always maintained that self-belief and a vision in his players, in his philosophy, and what he wants to achieve at Liverpool. He's also always been quick to display some modesty, but also at the same time reaffirm his goals, his work ethic, and what he's working to achieve at Liverpool. And he's done this through maintaining sort of overarching cultural and technical theses about his club that he really wants to see them push forward. He said this on February 22nd after beating Arsenal 4-1. "I know it has been difficult for the fans. I've got no history or background. I can only see the work on the field. Hopefully they'll see that we are all fighting." So again, right here, he's putting himself below the club, below the fans, saying that I'm just a guy. I came in with no history. I was managing at Reading and Swansea. I didn't come from a big European club. I've had a lot to prove. I'm still that same person, and we're going to push forward and move and really go for this. 12 days earlier, he again reaffirmed his belief in what he wants to do at Liverpool, and he said, and I quote, "I came here to challenge for titles. There's no limit on our ambitions." So he's saying that this is my philosophy, this is my club, these are my players, and I can take these guys to the moon. Now, all this incredible self-belief and ambitious talk is being reflected in the way his players go about themselves professionally, and they train, and now as we're seeing Liverpool improve this season, on the pitch, how they play, getting real results out of it. I just can't even imagine what Brendan Rodgers says to players on a day-to-day basis at Melwood. In press conferences and in interviews, we get little nuggets of what he thinks, what he believes, what he says to players, but we really don't know what he's telling these guys day in and day out. And it must be some really good shit. It must be Brendan's secret stuff, because I have never once heard a Liverpool player under Brendan Rodgers use the name, or use his name in a negative tone, speak about him badly, or use the phrase "the manager." And oftentimes we see players say "the manager" in a negative tone to sort of express how much displeasure the player has with the manager that he won't even use his real name. But we see Liverpool players all the time call him Brendan this, Brendan that. That's a very friendly relationship that players must have with Brendan Rodgers, and one that's really produced good results this season. Glenn Johnson said this about Brendan when I guess an interviewer asked him about Brendan's man management in comparison to Jose Mourinho. We all know Jose managed Glenn Johnson when the two were at Chelsea. Johnson said this: "He's shown that if you're good enough, you're old enough, and you'll play in the big games if you deserve to. So in terms of man management, Brendan is definitely better." Now that is Glenn Johnson, somebody who won a Premier League title at Chelsea, saying this about Brendan Rodgers in comparison to Jose Mourinho, who's won just about everything you possibly can in Europe. That really speaks volumes to how well Brendan Rodgers has managed his players this season and how he's really brought them up and built them up to believe that they can achieve great things despite not winning before in the past and really struggling in the past. This is the same squad basically that we saw last year struggle at times, and he's really built them up, coached them up into something that's on the cusp of winning a Premier League title. And even Steven Gerrard has shown his affection toward Brendan Rodgers. Gerrard's 33, he's been through it all, seen it all. Brendan Rodgers is 41, hasn't seen much, hasn't been through much as a player or a coach. Stevie had this to say about Rodgers recently: "I have absolutely been blown away by his sessions, his tactics, and his maturity in the job, and I am learning off him every single day." Now that is about as high as a compliment Brendan Rodgers can possibly be given, from Steven Gerrard, club captain, Liverpool legend, English midfield legend, to Brendan Rodgers, Liverpool manager, who has won no titles as of yet. So that's an impressive quote from Steven Gerrard to Brendan. And now as Liverpool are starting to win more and Brendan's philosophy and what he's been saying all along is starting to translate into results and reality, we see him take little psychological shots and lobs at the opposition in his pre-match pressers. On March 13th, before the big Manchester United match just last week, he said, "It was supposed to be a low intensity session, but the quality and the intensity they worked at was incredible. I actually had to take them off a bit." And this was in reference to the fact that Liverpool had that long layoff between, I believe, the Southampton match and the United match. I think it was like a 2-week layoff, something like that. And the session that he had that day was supposed to be a light training session. They weren't supposed to do much, just get out there, maintain some fitness levels. But Liverpool are so driven and focused and ambitious right now that these players couldn't help themselves but to really train at a high level. And that speaks to how focused Brendan Rodgers has these players right now. A lot of these players have been through the bad years with Liverpool, the likes of Agger, Gerrard, Lucas, Martin Skrtel, even Glenn Johnson. And these guys are sensing the title, and they want to win this right now. And Brendan Rodgers has done so well to bring that beast out of them to get them to this point, and that speaks to how great of a coach he is and a great of a man manager he is right now. Frankly, I don't think there's another side in England or another manager in England as focused and driven as Brendan Rodgers in Liverpool is right now, and seeing this one goal they have at the end of the season and reaching and trying to attain it. They may not speak much about it in the press conferences and in pressers, saying, Chelsea or Manchester City are really the favorites. We're going to take it one match at a time. But best believe, behind closed doors at Melwood, Brendan Rodgers is telling these guys, listen, you guys have basically been losers or Premier League losers your entire career with Liverpool, outside of, I would say, Steven Gerrard and some of the longer time guys who have actually had great seasons here. But he's been saying, we've had a lot of losing. Let's go win this. We're right here. And for David Moyes, Manchester United, how terrifying is that quote to hear from Brendan Rodgers, where you have guys who are just so intense every single session that are coming into your place, Old Trafford, to play you when you're already kicked and down. That smells like fresh blood in the water for Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool side, just to tell Moyes and Manchester United that, listen, we're not letting up and we're coming to kick your ass. And of course they did, 3-0. And Brendan Rodgers, as he's getting confidence, he's even going after Manchester United in a backhanded, and David Moyes in a backhanded but clever way. I think this quote right here, you can read between the lines of it. It wasn't overly aggressive or overly negative, but you can kind of get the gist of what he's saying and what he means when he says, and I quote, "Any club will suffer the same when they're not in there, the Champions League. It will hurt you, but they, United, will know that." So he's basically saying here, like, Manchester United, you guys have had a shit season, you guys are way outside the Champions League, and when you don't make Champions League next year, you're going to feel the pain that Liverpool felt all these years. And I just wanted to finish with this one quote to wrap everything up. After the Manchester United win, a reporter asked Brendan Rodgers if this was his finest day as Liverpool manager, and he said, and I quote, "No, every day is." So this is a man that loves Liverpool dearly. He loves the club, he loves the fans, he loves his players, he loves everything about it. And like he said, from his first presser to this day, he will fight for Liverpool on and off the pitch as a professional. And for that, I cannot commend Brendan Rodgers enough for the work he's done and all of the hard work he still has to do as Liverpool chase their elusive Premier League title. So that's all for today with JLB Sports TV. I am Justin Block. Give me your thoughts on how Brendan Rodgers, how you think he's been doing as the Liverpool manager so far, how you think he's been handling himself in the press, and any other thoughts you have about Brendan Rodgers, leave it in the comment section down below. I will see you guys next week.